Okay, so we're not doing Romero. Doing Romero next time.
This is the 2020 episode.
Are they all
All three
2020?
movies are from 2020. They were shot pre-pandemic and released in 2020.
Were they all Hulu?
Um,
Because I know I watched a bunch of Hulu ones.
no, The Dark and the Wicked was available on Amazon.
Oh, that's
It was
right.
a Shudder.
So which one do you want to talk about first?
Oh God. I feel like we should save Possessor. Well, I mean, my opinion on She Dies Tomorrow is that I fucking hated it. So
Sure.
we can talk about that
I
last.
have a much worse one for you if you hated that one.
Oh really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's-
I wanted to have you watch a different one, but it doesn't make for the most PC conversation.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can save that one for later. Let's do The Dark and the Wicked first, and let's save Possessor for last. We'll talk about She Dies Tomorrow in the
So
middle.
Dark or Wicked is, I actually watched a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
So you're probably more familiar with.
When did I watch it? I probably watched it this week. So 2020, this is the fourth movie by, who's this director? This is Brian Bertino, who is known for doing The Strangers, Mockingbird, which I've never heard of, and The Monster from A24. And just like the other two movies that we've seen from him, it's not good.
Monster was bad.
Monster's better, though.
I disagree.
You think this is better than The Monster?
I actually didn't have as much of a problem with this one as you
I was
did.
just bored.
Yes, okay, so there was parts where it was boring.
I think The Monster has a better like commentary, like the idea of like alcoholism as an actual monster. I think is a better idea than just a fucking satanic force that has no explanation that's in this movie. I would say The Monster has more artistic integrity than this movie does. This movie probably is more watchable than The Monster and less insulting.
I thought it was better paced and shot better.
Yeah,
This
probably.
one, the monster was just disappointing.
Yeah,
At the end of the
it's
day.
very dumb.
So what? The dad's dying.
Yeah, so Dark and the Wicked is the story of a dying elderly man on a farmstead. His wife is taking care of him. The two children, the son and the daughter who are grown up, return to, see him off as he dies, like basically in hospice. And the mother is like hearing voices and thinking and warning the children they shouldn't be there. Turns out there is a demon or the devil's there, and the mother kills herself. And then slowly they're being haunted by the devil, and then by the end of the movie, everyone is dead. And that's about it.
Wow, we skipped over a lot of stuff.
Well, nothing happens.
Mom killed herself pretty early on.
Yeah, but dude, this movie, nothing happens. It's so boring. And it's a shame because Xander Berkeley from Candyman and Terminator 2, he plays the priest in this movie, and he's barely in it because they could only afford him
he's
for
so
like a
old
day.
looking now.
Yeah, I know.
I had to make sure it was that person.
It's the stepdad from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
yeah.
gotten very old, but he's pretty good, but he's not in the movie a lot.
No, he's not.
I think the problem with this movie is just like with The Strangers, like they don't explain anything. And I'm not saying that you need to explain everything and tell me what the demon's name is, why it's there, but like there has to be a little bit more than nothing, because there's no motivation for this demon to be there other than it wants the soul of the dad, but we don't know anything about the dad. Why does it want his soul? Because it kills everyone else and could take their souls theoretically, right? So I don't understand what this movie is even about, or it feels like nothing to me. I don't know. It just feels like a waste of time. And
The funny thing is, I'm going backwards, and I'm like, I'm trying to find good things to say, and I'm actually kind of stretching because I just don't remember
I mean,
much of it.
the atmosphere is fine, but other movies have done it better.
I actually did like I did enjoy the way that the brother-sister relationship worked.
Sure.
It was an interesting dynamic because usually it's like a lover or, father, daughter, whatever. You don't usually see brother-sister and them also be the two main characters
Right.
dealing with, the mom killing herself and
Yeah.
chopping into her fingers like they're carrots.
I don't know. I kind of like that scene. That was kind of cool.
I
But-
saw it coming though, and
I
then
know, I
I
saw
thought,
it
and then I thought they
coming,
were going to
yeah.
pull it back.
and not do
For a
it.
second, I thought they weren't going to do it
Yeah.
because I've been seeing a lot of like people chopping their fingers off lately. What the fuck else did we watch out?
Possessor.
Yeah. But there was something else too. Because I watched Dark and the Wicked first, and I was like, oh, she's going to cut her fingers off like this other movie.
Was it in See No Evil? Cuts fingers off.
No, it was a better movie. Whatever it was.
I don't know. Yeah, there's just nothing in this movie. It's just a whole lot of nothing, and I don't understand why people are praising or not praising this movie. At least it has a high score on IMDb for a horror movie. It's got a 6.1. This director has shown that he's just not good. He's just very mediocre, and I don't know why people give him like people talk about when I talk about The Strangers to people because I rewatched it recently, and that movie is just not good. Like it's an okay slasher movie, but there's way better modern slasher movies that do it better and even commentate on the genre that they're in. Like every time I think of a modern slasher, I just think of Your Next and how much better that movie is, and how The Strangers came out in like '05 or something in that middle range of like Saw and popular horror or like
Could you
torture
tell me
porn.
another good slasher?
Other than Your Next,
Yeah.
modern, I would say The Guest, but you don't really like The Guest. But that's almost not even a slasher. I don't even know how to describe that movie. It's like a sci-fi.
Did I talk about The Collector in one of those movies?
We talked about The Collector in the videos, but not us talking.
In the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you did.
I like it, but it's still very torture porn-ish, and it's
It's a shame because I do feel like there's something there.
There is.
And they're doing that classic like mid to late 2000 editing and the like that green overlay weird.
But I would say that it's interesting because it doesn't set up as a slasher movie because this guy runs into it by accident. And
right, which I said I like the premise. I really
Yeah.
do. I think it's a neat.
It's
This
almost
guy gets caught in the middle. His storyline doesn't really make any sense.
no,
but
it's not good. But at least it's kind of a different setup, and it's not like
And the ending's
teenagers.
kinda
Yeah,
stupid.
the ending's not great. But like the teenagers going to the abandoned hotel, and there's a guy there killing them all. Like
I know we're completely off topic at this point from The Dark and the Wicked, but how does the ambulance get hit and then flipped off the road?
oh, and the Collector,
Yeah.
by a like panel van, yeah.
I didn't even see the van. You just see the shot of the.
I assume that he like set out like a bunch of spikes or something, but they never show that.
No, because it gets like T-boned.
Oh, does it?
That's the whole point.
I don't
it gets
remember.
like T-boned and flown up, and I'm like, they didn't even show the car hitting it. It just
No.
because the shot is like he's in the ambulance and he starts like moving, and then,
Which is really cool because it's
Yeah.
all in the ambulance.
But then you cut to the shot and it's like flipping over,
Right.
and I'm like, an ambulance is really sturdy,
very
man.
heavy, yes. Yeah, don't think about it.
Right. And he just grabs him and throws him in there, and you're just
Yeah.
like, you're like all messed up. How are you still doing this stuff?
I don't know, man. Like I just even though it's not that great, I still think like the Collector has more to say than some of these other like just this feels The Dark and Wicked feels just like another direct to video or direct to streaming horror movie that people are going to watch and forget about. And that's about it, really.
I don't know if it's that bad.
Maybe not, but I'm getting to a point now, like especially with these mediocre stuff, I think it's worse than the really bad ones
Better
because
than The Shed.
that's true, but The Shed is hilarious. Like I think that's why like I'm almost liking the worst ones because it's funny to watch and enjoyable. This one I was just bored. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Or how do you like the brother going home thinking the family's dead, so he kills himself, Romeo and
Okay,
Juliet
yes, that
style,
was dumb.
and then they
yeah.
come home.
Because the problem is because you haven't explained what this entity is and what its boundaries are and its limitations. Like, why is he driving 6 hours?
That's happened in another movie, another horror movie. What movie is that where they see a premonition, they think their family's dead, so they kill themselves, and it turns out that it's not it. That's been done before.
I mean, it kind of sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that's all I think is Romeo and Juliet because that's happened a lot in stories before. But
Right. But it just doesn't. They didn't set up any reason for that to be the case.
I'm trying to think. There's another movie where a person hallucinates, thinks that something's bad, so they do something horrible, and then it turns out that's not really what's happening. I can't think of it.
So how does the movie end?
Oh, the nurse stabs out of her eyes
Yeah.
and kills herself, and then the daughter, she decides to stay with the dad because that's the whole point. Is if you leave,
He's trying to get him to leave.
Right.
He's trying to get him to die alone.
yeah,
Because
so
then he can actually take over his body.
is that the point?
That
Or-
was the point.
I thought it
yes,
was just
sorry.
to take his soul, not to take over his body.
I think the whole idea. Yeah. Either way, Yeah.
And so
to take his soul, the only way the demon can get his soul is if he dies alone.
But then she's with him till the end, and it still takes over his body and
Yeah,
kills her
I know.
anyway.
It's like
That movie has the worst. It's such a bad ending.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, as much as we're ripping this movie apart, it's not nearly as bad as She Dies Tomorrow. Oh boy.
Oh, we're already on that one.
Why don't we just move on, because there's really nothing else to talk.
I'm just trying to like look back and try and figure out some of these other crappy ones that I've watched. I rewatched Black Death.
Oh, from when I talked about it, the Sean Bean one, right?
Yeah.
What's your
'Cause you've
opinion?
seen it?
I want to hear your take on it again.
I liked it a lot more the second time.
Did you not like the ending again, or did you?
The ending it's still a little dumb.
A little rough?
Yeah, because I feel like they could have just stopped it. Like they could have ended it 5 minutes earlier when they talk about, well, we heard rumors that he is going off and doing this stuff. We don't need to see all this footage.
Would you have
of him.
preferred to see him changed, kind of like Sean Bean, like him with the long hair and the thing, and you hear rumors, and he's just looking at like a witch being tortured, and then that's it. You don't have to see him going after each
I don't
witch.
think you need to show that at all. I think why, because when the guy says I've heard rumors, then it just leaves it up to our imagination what happened to him. I didn't need to actually see footage of him doing that.
Okay, well, you don't have to see. I just think that there should maybe just be instead of every single scene, because there's like 4 scenes of him like going after different witches.
Yeah, no, it just like keeps going on.
Maybe just one,
Yeah.
right?
And I don't dislike the idea that he's trying to find this woman.
And he keeps seeing her in
Melisandre from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
she's kind of young in there. She's
actually,
like
there's
34 or something
multiple
like that.
people from Game of Thrones in that. The head guy of the cult, he's Glover, in the North.
Yep.
Somebody else.
Not one of the other guys like I thought he was. That guy's in The Fall, the show. Anyway, I did like it. I did because I remember the first time I watched it and I was like, "This is terrible." And
But it's
like
weird, right? Because it's like half action movie, half horror movie. It's like kind of like Severance, because it's the same director, where it's not funny. It's not like Severance has that kind of
Right.
British
there's
tone
no comedic value.
or atmosphere, but like it has those moments where it's like that gritty, almost Neil Marshall like fighting in the middle of it, and then you go to just this atmospheric, almost like Wicker Man thing.
I kind of almost preferred everything up until then.
Them on the road, the camaraderie between all those guys.
I did enjoy that stuff, and then this, the scene where they're stuck in the water in the cage is pretty good, and I really do appreciate the part where they the guy's girlfriend, whatever.
Well, right, she's like
Eddie
drugged.
Yeah, that she's drugged, and so she thinks that,
or he thinks that she's dead and she's been resurrected
and messed up, and then he kills her. And
so that's kind of like
pity
in The Dark and the Wicked. It's not entirely the same, but it's like he thinks something is happening differently, so he kills either himself or somebody else. Right?
Yeah. But that's also another thing that I kind of wish they had left a little bit ambiguous, instead of just straight up telling us
that she was drugged.
That the whole idea of the village was, it was just isolated. That's the reason they didn't get.
And
it
has nothing to do with like
magic or anything like that. I'm like, couldn't we just because that part right there, that's where I've got the problem, when he's chasing her and
in the woods,
and they're in like the weeds in the water, and she's like, what if she wasn't actually dead? And she's like, she actually throws it out there like it's a possibility at first, and not actually saying it. And then the more he like falls apart, then she's like, no, she wasn't actually dead. I just drugged her.
You would have preferred if she left it more ambiguous,
Yeah.
because it feels like when she's in the woods, it's almost like she's disappeared and she's just rather than she's like off in the distance yelling at him. It almost feels like she's
moving
vanished
around,
and she's actually a witch.
Yes. And I would have enjoyed the ambiguity of all of that.
Yeah.
Like being able to decide that for myself as the viewer, instead of being told that.
Sure.
Just like the ending, I feel like showing him the change in him because of what happened, and it does feel very drastic.
Yeah.
He went through a really nasty ordeal,
going from priest to
really naive
murderer.
priest to super badass long hair, go kill a bunch of witches
Yeah.
that look anywhere near Mel, which they don't.
I love
They
the
don't
yeah,
even
the
look
one's
like
a
her.
brunette, and then the other one like they don't even they're
Yeah.
not even blonde.
Yeah,
like
no,
the
it like
witch.
cuts and he sees her and he's like, oh, it might be her. And then it cuts and it's like, that doesn't look
Not even
anything
close.
like her.
Not even close.
Oh, well, it's just to show you the depths that his insanity goes.
I know it's not amazing, but I don't know. I still really enjoy it. I think there's a lot of ideas there that are different and interesting than some of the other horror movies that I've seen in a while.
Oh, I mentioned it on the Discord channel that I watched No Escape Room.
What's that?
It was apparently it was a made-for-TV movie
Oh God.
in 2018, which I didn't know they still did.
Uh,
Because I was sitting there watching it, and then about 20 minutes in, there was like a fade, and I like,
for a commercial break?
yeah,
Oh.
and I go, no, and I looked it up, and I'm like, no, that's made for TV. I mean, this thing was awful. Like it
I'm
was
sure.
so bad. It's worse than anything I've recommended so far.
Oh, even worse than The Hoarder?
Yes,
Oh God.
yes,
That's
it's just bad.
yeah.
Like not fun bad, just bad. And what else? Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, I haven't watched all that great of stuff. We'll talk about maybe you should watch this movie. I just kind of it makes for
The movie you mentioned earlier.
right. It makes for controversial.
Okay, well, what is it?
Conversation.
We don't have to talk about it now.
It's
I mean-
called Lucky.
Oh, the Wait, hold on. Have I seen that?
It came out this year.
Maybe I'm
or 2020.
Maybe I'm confusing it with something else.
It's another 2020. But I also watched Rent-A-Pal on Hulu. It's got the kid from the I don't know, the 80s Stephen King movie. Stand By Me.
Which kid?
The main guy.
Will Wheaton?
Yeah. Will Wheaton. It's
Really?
got him in it. And he's like
Is
he's
this it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it.
It's got 3.2 on there?
5.2.
Oh. Yeah. I think you will blow a casket watching
Of
it.
how bad it is? Or how insulting it is?
Mm-hmm.
What does it matter? Just, I mean, I'm going to watch it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really. It's not some sort of reveal. That doesn't really.
Is
have
it trying
much
to
do
be
with it.
like, not like,
It's trying to be progressive.
not like commentating on like,
Oh,
hey-
it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's commentating on females and the stuff they go through
Is
on
it
a
like,
daily basis.
is it like You? Like that Netflix show?
Yeah, well, you is actually more like
Nuanced and actually.
almost kind of like grandirizing that stuff in a way, like romanticizing.
Oh.
That guy's actions in a sense because he doesn't get caught.
Oh, is this movie kind of like how when people saw Monster, they're like, well, we got to defend this woman because she was raped and, horrible things happened. They're like, yeah, but she was also a serial killer. She's a horrible human being and deserves to be in jail. You can be conflicted in saying,
Right.
yeah, shit
I mean,
happened to
a
this
lot
person.
Of serial killers have shitty,
Yeah,
early
have had
lives.
abuse or fucked
Doesn't
up
mean
things.
you
but
don't.
You don't.
You recognize that stuff and you
Right.
try to prevent it in the future, but you don't forgive.
You don't use it
people.
as an excuse to
No.
do horrible things.
No, it's not like that.
Whatever, we can save it for another thing. And I'll watch it.
I think it's insulting.
Oh, really?
I do.
Cool.
I was not happy watching that film.
Great.
I just, but at the same time, I have to sit back and I say I'm not a female, so I don't know how females view that.
Okay.
It's tough. Just watch it. You'll watch it.
Fine.
Okay. So what was the third one?
She Dies Tomorrow.
She Dies Tomorrow. Harry does not like this movie.
Do you like it?
I really like this movie. Yeah, I do.
God, what's wrong with you? Okay, well, this will be interesting. Yeah, I'll talk about it first, and then you can defend it.
Give that color commentary.
Yeah.
The play-by-play.
So She Dies Tomorrow is like it's a very, I wouldn't even call it avant-garde. It's a very weird premise. So the idea is this woman, I think her name is it
Amy.
Amy? She comes home to her house. She's convinced that she will die tomorrow. She just has this thought in her head that she knows for a fact that she's going to die tomorrow, and she doesn't know what to do with the rest of her time. She keeps playing the same record over and over. She relapses and starts drinking a lot, and she's just trying to do things around the house. And then her friend comes over because she calls her friend. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. And her friend comes over and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? What's going on? She's like, I'm going to die tomorrow. She's like, no, you're not. You're not going to die tomorrow. It's going to be okay. Whatever. You just need to, you're loaded. You need to, you know.
Well, she leaves because she says, I'm not going to enable
Right, I'm not
you
going to enable
by
this
staying
behavior.
here."
So this Jane, who's played by, I can't remember the actress's name. She's been in like
Jane Addams.
Happiness and some other movies. I recognize her. A lot of people are in this movie, surprisingly. And she leaves and she goes home to her home and she's doing some work. And then all of a sudden, these lights start flickering all over. And then she has the thought, I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm going to die tomorrow.
The idea is it's contagious.
It's like, yeah, this thought or this whatever is keeps going with all of them. And then she goes to her brother's house who's having a birthday party and she spreads it to all four of these people. They're all convinced, and then it just starts spreading all over the town. And then you start seeing these characters like having this revelation, deciding to go do things. Like one of the characters at the birthday party, he's had his dad on life support, so he goes to unplug him. He's like, I should have done this a long time ago. And everyone's having this like really brutally honest take on everything. And cool idea, really interesting idea, but I feel like it's handled very poorly. I just don't get it. I understand what they're going for. It's like, how do characters deal with the idea of you will for sure die tomorrow? What do you do with the time you have left? Do you go drinking? Do you go to a place out that you've never been before? Do you go spend time with somebody that you've always wanted to spend time with? You know, that kind of deal. Do you just have a bunch of sex, or can you even do that because you're so worried about dying the next day? Can you even do that?
Being like, "Do you want to make out?"
Yeah.
Never mind, I can't do it. I just
So that's Adam Wingard, who directed Your Next, and a lot of people
nice.
from Your Next are in this. So interesting idea. I just feel like it's a lot of art house bullshit.
Well,
I feel like
look at it a different way too. It's not. Don't take it literally.
sure.
And you can, in some sense. Like, I do think that's an interesting way of looking at it, is literally, are these people, is this a contagious thing and they're all going to die tomorrow because she started this? And I would argue she did not start it. I would argue that the guy started it, the guy she was dating.
And then somebody else gave that
And
to
the
him.
funny thing is, I was thinking about it, and I actually got the impression that it was the shrooms that kicked in when he went to go get the pizza.
Oh.
And that's why he started freaking out, and he like thought he was going to die tomorrow, and then that's when it kind of started.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't really matter,
No.
but it was just because of the idea of doing shrooms.
All I could think about is that this movie is trying to be These Final Hours or Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, but trying to do it differently. And I just feel like it fails. I don't know. It feels like this weird pet project because the director, she's an actress. She's directed TV episodes of things, but she was the wife in the Pet Sematary remake, and she was in Your Next. She played one of the daughters.
I
Whatever.
remember.
And she just has a lot of famous friends. Like Michelle Rodriguez is in this movie for 5 seconds for no reason.
Kate Alston or whatever.
Yeah.
From the league.
From the league. Josh Lucas is the
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere. And I liked the scenes where it was like the flashback between Amy and her boyfriend. I really liked Amy's acting and like the character Amy. Like I don't know who the actress's name is, but I liked the acting from her. And I think that's the strongest part of the movie is her acting. But I feel like I don't know, like the way it's edited, it's very disjointed. I don't like the flow of things. I almost wished all of it was happening in present time and there was no flashbacks. Like it was just like from this point on, this is how these characters are responding to this, and they're dealing with that.
Well, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. I do think that some scenes, like when she's in the house, like it was like one of the first flashbacks with her and the guy, and she's talking about how she had the abortion and stuff like that. You're like, what does this matter?
Yeah, I don't. I feel like they should have. Obviously, it's something limited by budget and time and location, but I feel like they should have explained like what is this entity, just like in The Dark and the Wicked, what is causing this? Because I feel like when you leave it too much to interpretation, like we've had this conversation before, where anything means anything, so nothing means nothing, right?
But is it though? I mean, like at least with that type of plot device, what I don't feel like it can be anything. I do feel like it's limited, and so you're giving yourself three solutions. It's real, it's not real, and it's commentary.
Yeah.
I would argue it's commentary on how we hear things and we automatically take them as truths.
Mm-hmm.
Like people hear things and they just automatically accept it instead of like doing their own because they didn't show anybody dying. That's a very important thing.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, out of nowhere, the doctor feels, like, overwhelmed, and he starts feeling like something's happening.
Sure, if you're going to take it literally.
Right.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that, like, the whole point is that they're taking this seriously, and it's like they can't get it off their mind, and
I buy
nobody dies.
I buy that when Jane goes into the party and they're having this conversation and she's just like, I'm convinced I'm going to die tomorrow. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And they think about it more and they're like, well, yeah, what would happen if we die tomorrow? But when she goes to the doctor, when she goes to the two people hanging out, Michelle Rodriguez and the other girl, I'm just like,
well, I got the impression they already knew.
Well, I knew they already knew, but I feel like all of these like other instances where it feels like supernatural, I would have preferred if it was played straight. There was no like
the flashing lights.
Is really stupid.
They could have left that out.
I would have almost preferred if like they're going to leave this ambiguous whether they're actually going to die or they're just this thought is almost become this virus that's like permeated in their brain that they can't think about anything else, and people are convincing them. I would have liked that more. I just feel like there's a lot of in this movie. It's just like, okay, I get it, but
yeah. See, I'm not saying it makes sense. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make sense of it. I'm not. I just like the scenes. I pretty much liked every one of the scenes. I thought all the acting was pretty good.
Is very good.
And like the dialogue was pretty good and how they show different reactions from different people.
Yeah, but I feel like there's just too much like very hipster bullshit, like them playing the Mozart over and over again. I'm like, I get it.
I like that at first. And then when they started having the friend do it, it was I liked it when it was just Amy.
And so what are we supposed to believe in that one scene that the brother and the sister-in-law went and tried to kill Jane and then she survived? Did they shoot her?
No, I think she got stabbed or something.
And they just left her alone. Yeah. What the fuck was that?
I don't know. I didn't expect them to bring her back.
Dumb. Like I love her like going in the like I'm gonna die. Hey, can I go in the pool? Like that's
right.
Great.
No, I like that scene a lot. But like that's one of those things where it's like I do think it's a commentary where these people, it's like, well, who did this to us? Like, who can we blame? Even though it's not her fault, who can we blame?
I get that, but
you got to take her out.
But I think the problem was that feel better. These final hours did the same idea, but way better because it's all grounded in reality.
Well, that's very literal, yeah. I mean,
and all of it's like, how do you deal with the thought that no matter what, you're going to die? What do you do with the time you have left? And how do you have these conversations? But everything makes sense. Like, I feel like this, like, leaving it up to interpretation and, like, almost metaphor bullshit is just very, like, well, we don't have anything else, so we got to do this. It feels very coherent to me. Like, hey, we want to have these characters deal with death and deal with this idea, but how do we do that? I don't know. Let's just make up some space bullshit and make them have a dinner party. I don't know. I get what you're saying.
You didn't see Melancholia yet.
No.
But this was a worse Melancholia.
That's what I would believe. It's like when you watch like David Lynch or you watch Lars von Trier, like things aren't literal, but I'm willing to accept their movies more because I feel like it's not trying to be anything. It's trying to be itself. And this movie doesn't feel like it's trying to be itself. It feels like it's copying in a way. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's just something about it that doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah, it's not new. They just tried to do it in a different way, like having a trope, essentially.
Yeah, I just feel it's very half-assed. I don't feel like they're going all the way with the absurdity of everything. If they're trying to do that...
Yeah, they probably just didn't have enough storylines for that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I did enjoy it though. I think that at the end of the day, I could get past this, the hippie bullshit.
It's certainly more interesting than The Dark and the Wicked, and it kept my attention. I just felt like I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of these scenes. And when she kept waking up, was it that she passed out and then she thought she was dead, so she woke up again, and then she woke up in the desert? What was the whole point of her trying to become? Is that a real thing that you become a leather jacket when you die? That's
Oh,
not real.
I don't think it was real. I think she just wanted
She
to
just
do
wanted
that.
to become a leather
Yeah.
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and in a lot of ways you could say that like that's how she wanted to be remembered. Like that's the only
I
way
wish
she
that
was
was the
able
end
to.
scene, was that like she dies or she kills herself in the store and then they.
Yeah. Well, but I actually kind of like, even though like I kind of wish they had just ended it like in a way that they're like, yeah, they didn't die.
Yeah.
Like, and look at what they did. Look
Yeah.
at what all these people did in reaction to thinking they were dying.
Which has been done before. I can't think of the movie where
I'm
people
sure- yeah, I'm
think
sure
they're going
it
to
has.
die and then
Yeah.
nothing happens. I think it's a Simpsons episode, actually. They think the comet's going to happen and then it doesn't happen and then they, you know.
But I actually really like the part where she wakes up in the desert and she's,
No, I do like the
and
scene.
she's sitting there
I
being
like-
I'm okay, I'm okay.
I'm not okay.
Because that would be
Yes.
people's reaction. They want
Right.
to tell themselves like, okay, I'm ready to die. No, I'm not. No, I'm fucking not.
So,
I don't want to die.
I
I'm
understand
okay.
why you like this because the interactions, the actual scenes, they're believable and they make
Yes.
sense and they're
I thought the
interesting.
dialogue was quite good.
Dialogue's good. But as a movie, as all of the scenes combined, it doesn't work.
It's not really a movie.
No, I think that's my problem.
Nah.
Is it feels either like a short film or it feels like it's not a narrative.
It's just something to watch.
It's weird.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I think it's not as strong or as nuanced as it could be. That's why I'm saying like that's why These Final Hours or Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, like they do the same idea, but it's an actual movie. It's an actual story. Things add up.
It's interesting because there's have you heard of Another Earth?
Oh,
It came out
I think so.
4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wanting to watch it, and I watched it a few weeks ago, and I was actually very disappointed in it.
Is it a
And
show or is it a movie?
It's a movie. And the idea is that out of nowhere, like a duplicate Earth
I know what you're talking
is
about.
like really close to their Earth, and everybody's the same. Like everybody
Yeah.
has a clone of themselves essentially on the other planet. And it's kind of about this, like, obviously there's
a
the
7. Wow, really?
yeah, no. Did I give it a 7?
No, that's what it has.
No, I was like, I didn't think it was 7. That, the existential crisis of it, obviously.
Right.
But, some of the ideas of, like, okay, so what would you struggle with? Would you want to know, is that person exactly the same? Did they make the same mistakes? Okay, Interesting concept. But that's not really what the movie's about. It's like following the girl and the mistake that she made, drinking and driving and killing most of a family, and then her connecting with, like, have you ever seen 21 Grams
What's...
with Sean Penn, where he gets the heart
Oh,
transplant?
No, I haven't, but I know what you're talking
And
about.
it's about
yeah.
him, like, connecting
With
with
the family
with
or
the
the-
wife of the
Right.
of the dead guy that gave him the heart.
Right.
It's like that, where she goes back and, like, finds the husband that
That's...
that survived,
Yeah.
but the wife and the child died, and he's all depressed, and she's like cleaning his house for him and everything like that. And you're like, what the fuck does this have to do with Another Earth?
Well-
and so that's like the opposite end of, to me. It's like, yes, These Final Hours does it very, very well. I do enjoy that movie a lot, but then I do think that sometimes those linear storylines do not work.
Well,
in-
yeah,
in
because
those
you're
types
dealing
of
with
things.
such a grand and hard to tackle idea in an hour and a half. What would you do with the
Right.
idea of literally somebody doing something else that changed their life completely?
Well, they spent an hour and 15 minutes of it surrounding these two characters
Right.
and their relationship, and not about what would you do, because the idea is that they can get they're sending a few people to the other planet,
Yeah.
and so she ends up writing an essay and getting accepted, and she gives it to him, and I go, how does this make any sense?
So he's gonna go see himself and see
either-
his alive wife.
Yeah, either he's going to see himself and he's depressed And
Yeah.
so they're going to be depressed together. Or he's going to see himself and his wife and child is still alive on the other world, and it's going to be real awkward.
Yeah, so now you have two dads?
Yeah.
Like, what,
And then
what do you do with
and then
this?
it ends because her clone comes to their Earth.
Okay.
And she's like kind of like better dressed. And so the idea is like maybe she didn't make that mistake, and then
Oh my
but that
God.
doesn't make any sense because why is she coming to this Earth? The idea
Right.
is that she wanted to go to the other Earth to see if this herself had made the same mistakes. If that person didn't make the same mistakes, why would she want to go?
If you want to deal with that idea, why would you even make another Earth? Why don't you just do like a time travel movie? Or like, there's another movie that does that.
It's an interesting.
Like Predestination with Sandra Bullock, where she like keeps waking up like a week before her husband dies, and she like is trying to spend time with him.
That's not Predestination.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's the Ethan Hawke movie. Premonition. Sorry, Premonition.
seen that one.
Yeah, it's not very good, but it's
Predestination is good.
Predestination is very good.
I
I like that movie a lot.
Ethan Hawke, I feel like, is underrated.
He's incredibly underrated.
I
Very
just
good
watched
actor.
Before Sunset for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard. I want to watch the trilogy.
I
I've heard
did
it's
like
great.
it, and so I'm looking forward to the other two, but
Yeah.
I've only watched the one so far.
Okay, so let's move on. So you'd recommend She Dies Tomorrow?
I enjoy it.
I wouldn't really necessarily recommend it unless you're really into that kind of like. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I like things that are weird and are not necessarily like an actual story. Like, I fucking love Tetsuo the Iron Man. That movie is literally nothing but
That's
visuals and avant-garde. And
That's
there really isn't a
avant-garde.
storyline, but it's interesting and
She liked the
weird.
drill penis.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
That was rough.
That was very rough.
That was
And
rough.
the set design, the production design's amazing.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane
Yeah.
what they did
It's awesome.
with no money.
No money. No. that all the stop motions incredible.
It takes so long.
Yeah. And that was probably shot on film.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because it was like the 80s.
Yes. No, that movie's amazing. But like I feel like when a movie does like middle ground, like it's half story, half avant-garde or like metaphor, it doesn't work for me. Like I like things that are what's the word? Like Lord of the Flies is Lord of the Flies is an allegory. I like those kind of stories where because there's an actual story here, but everything means something. So you can, at the end of the day, you can just take for what it is. It's just a bunch of kids stranded on an island, but it also has meaning for like, what does this mean for society? What is barbarism? What happens when there are no rules or no civilization? And like, and also it has like some spiritual
Right.
imagery or stuff. So I just don't like it when the base story doesn't have a leg to stand on, because then at the end of the day, it creates so much ambiguity.
There really isn't a story. That's the whole point.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there really isn't.
So
I mean, some people took Lord of the Flies literally and then made Battle Royale,
yeah.
which I love.
But then Battle Royale is even also an allegory as well. Like
Yeah, it's not nearly as
not
deep.
nearly, yes, but it does
It's a
have
little more
commentary.
bloody and actiony than it is
Right.
about a thinker.
Yeah.
So the last one is the Possessor, which
Yeah.
I did not know anything about before
Oh, really?
watching it. No.
Oh, dude, I was so hyped for this movie.
What I look for on IMDb is big gaps in user reviews versus Metascore.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see if that who I side with in a way. You know, it's
Yeah.
like but Possessor I have some small complaints about.
Sure.
But for the most part,
It's really
it's
good.
quite original. I don't know.
This movie kicks ass, dude.
It's pretty neat.
It's really good. So it's 2020. It's Brandon Cronenberg, who is David Cronenberg's son. It is, I think,
No relation.
no, no relation.
No relation.
Um,
Cronenberg. It's a very.
I'm
it's a very
principal
normal-
vagina, no relation. No, so it is his son. This is, I believe, his third movie, or
So
his
what else did he do?
second movie. He did Antiviral, which I haven't seen yet. I've heard it's okay. Been meaning to
Wait,
watch
was
that.
that the redhead kid with all the freckles?
Caleb Landry Jones from Get Out.
And it's like all the celebrities are coming in and getting some weird surgery.
I don't remember, but it's been on my list for a while. I think it has like a 5 or something.
I think I did watch that.
But he's done like short films and music videos and stuff. But anyway, so this is like his like major like this is supposed to be like his Hereditary or his Get Out or his like this is like the movie that kind of cements him. And interesting premise, really different. Well, not really different, but it's not super original. But it feels like it's its own thing. Basically, there's a secret society, kind of like in David Cronenberg's movies, that they have assassins that take over other people's bodies and perform hits for paying customers. And so you literally go from your body into somebody else's body through like a brainwave transfer. And Andrea Rosenberg, I don't know how to say her name. She was in Mandy and Birdman. She's the main character, and she's like this assassin that keeps going into other
She's
people's
very
bodies.
unique looking, and I like
Yeah.
that they cast her for this
I
part.
really do too.
Like, especially when she comes out of the thing for the first time, and she's like all strained looking, and I'm
When
like,
they
you're
just
so weird.
the way they dyed her hair,
Yeah.
they make her really. Everyone looks like they belong in this world, kind of. And you got Jennifer Jason Leigh as the
She's pretty good.
headmistress of she's a retired assassin for that group. They never mention who the group is, and
Yeah, it's
so
like a hit. Yeah, it's just like a hit man
yeah,
that you pay for. If you
Right.
want somebody assassinated, you pay these people.
and she's like she's done this a lot of times. The movie opens up with her committing with a hit and being in a person's body, and you just kind of see her dealing with like she's trying to have a family or a normal life, but how can she have a normal life when she's constantly in somebody else's skin, somebody else's body? And her next hit is this she's supposed to take out this CEO and his daughter and be
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean is the CEO.
I was
Surprised.
texting Becky, and I go, "Is he gonna die?
Yeah.
Is Sean Bean gonna
No,
die?"
he doesn't
And then
die.
I go, "He does die." Oh no, he doesn't die.
Spoilers.
Oh my god, that's
amazing.
That scene.
It's incredible. So
Great practicals.
all
And
the
the
casting is
majority of
really
it
good.
is.
Yeah. No, I think that's okay. There's so much to talk about this movie.
Right.
Christopher Abbott, who was in It Comes at Night, and he's been in some other stuff. He plays the Sean Bean's son-in-law, or soon-to-be son-in-law,
Soon-to-be son-in-law, yeah.
fiance of the daughter. And so the hit company, they use him. So I don't know who the main character's name. She has a weird name, Voss.
Yeah, Voss. I
She's
think,
supposed to go into his body. She does. She's infiltrating, and she only has 48 hours to do this hit. But she starts feeling like she has these weird moments where she's losing control, or she's
blending. And to me, it was like a blending of personalities.
Yeah.
Like, because she's in his mind, she's there constantly because they drug him
yeah,
to keep him submissive.
yeah,
And then the more that she's done this, the weaker she becomes in a way.
yeah,
And so she starts having problems being
Maintaining
able to
control.
control.
Yeah.
And so I really like trying to figure out like which one's her and which one's
is
not.
the-
Because there's like little parts where he'll come in, that type of thing.
The acting is so good.
Yeah.
His acting,
He's
playing
great.
her, playing him is great, and her playing.
I like how she looked at her dick
Yeah.
when she
first gets in the
into
body.
him. She's like, "There's my penis."
Oh, checking that out.
There it is.
All of the scenes where like she's transferring into his body, or they're like losing control, like it's all done practically. Like it's all shot with these blending of images, like using stop motion, using
They're
practicals.
so good, though.
It's so good.
when like
When
and
the
he's
face is
wearing
melting.
her face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you're like, they would have done this CG. They would have done this CG in any
No,
other movie, but
so
it
good.
works so well with a practical.
And they show the shot where she's having sex again, like because it's not just blending of minds; it's blending of memories.
Yeah. So then
And
she
so-
has a penis, like
Yeah,
when she's like, yeah.
Which
yeah,
apparently, did you read that where that he wanted to do that and was like pitching the movie and stuff like that, Cronenberg.
No.
And the studio and everybody around him was like, "No, dude,
Oh, really?
that's pushing it too far. Like, don't do that."
Oh.
And then apparently, like, they started filming, and they were kind of like getting towards that point in the script, and the actress was like, "So I kind of feel like my character should have a dick," and he's just like,
Hell yeah.
"That's what I like to hear."
yeah, this
and,
movie-
and it makes sense.
It makes
And
sense,
it's
yeah.
like it's brilliant. Yeah, of course it like that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Just like, you have the scene later where he's flipping out, like they're wrestling in control, and he's having these memories of having sex with her husband,
Yeah.
with her face on him.
Yeah.
It's his body.
It's awesome.
With his face.
It's
Yeah,
so
and it's
weird.
Like,
yeah.
it's so many different layers, but it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't. Yeah, it's complicated, but it's not really. You're not really supposed to make sense of it. It's almost like a Cronenberg monster in a sense.
Yeah, it's just very good, and everything about it, the editing, the shots. There's a lot of like, just like in Mouse, there's a lot of close-up shots and following shots. I really like that. It feels, the world feels new and like futuristic, but it also feels dirty and weird. Like it does it like a good blending of the two, and the violence, dude. Like it's amazing.
It's rough.
It's rough, but it feels, it matches the tone of the movie.
And they don't. Not only do they not shy away from, the brutality that's happening,
they just show just enough.
Yeah, but they also like you keep thinking that she's gonna have like the crisis of conscience, and that does not happen.
No, she almost like kind of gets off on it.
Yeah,
it's weird,
and she like struggles with. They give her a gun, right?
Yeah.
And they did this in the first one too. The first person she
chooses not to use it,
and she instead stabs him to death. And they're like, "Why'd you stab? You had a gun." And she's like, "I don't know."
It made sense for the character.
It made it like that's, and it was like, well, is that something that you pulled from
the person
somebody else before then?
Right.
That's the whole idea, is like all these different things that are happening.
She's
to her.
becoming amalgamation of multiple people rather than who she really is.
I love that scene early on when she's getting ready to go home, and she stands there and she's practicing how she's going to say things.
I love that. Yeah, everything about her character, it's great because it's just like, how would you be if that's your whole job is to be other people? How would you be yourself? You couldn't be yourself.
No. And even when she's when she's showing her all the different things from her childhood, and so after every time she's done doing one of these things, they go through this process.
It's to ground her, to bring her back to reality. It's like Inception, like looking at your totem, or like in Blade Runner, it's the test.
And I got the impression that even in the first one, I'm like, man, this feels kind of weird. But in the second time they do it, I'm like, this sounds rehearsed.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't actually know that's her stuff. She just knows that
it's not her stuff, and she also doesn't regret killing the butterfly the second time. So it's showing that she's becoming the perfect killer because she has no remorse, and she's not even herself.
Well, she doesn't have any, and she doesn't have the one thing that was tying her to.
Right.
And it just kind of makes you wonder, because you're like, well, who would do that, right? Mm-hmm. So as a person, would you sit there and he's like, well, why would you just want to be like an assassin with no emotions, right? Because at that point, you're nobody.
Right.
You're nothing. But it works, and it makes sense because it was a slow process.
Yeah.
It starts off, and and each time she does it, it gets a little bit worse.
Also, they allude to the idea that Jennifer Jason Leigh will take over her body when Jennifer Jason Leigh gets too old.
Is that something they...
I don't know if you remember the conversation, the second conversation between the two of them. She's like, I would do this, but my body can't handle these jumps anymore.
Well, I know she said that.
And the main chick, Voss, she says that, she's like, I would be honored if you would, if that was the case, if you would take over me.
Oh, I
don't know if it's verbatim, but I feel like there's a clip in there.
Well, I know what you're talking about. I know what conversation you're talking about. The impression that I got the conversation was about was her just being the person.
Oh.
The person that does the assassinations now, because Jennifer Jason Leigh was the one before,
right? And
she's now saying my body is too old. But it's an interesting.
But I also feel like it could be that that's not her original body as well. That could have been.
No, I know.
She's an older assassin that's been through multiple bodies.
Right. Well, how often? But they do make it seem like this technology is not strong enough for that.
Right.
That they have to do this
only
within
last 48 hours right?
Before stuff goes wrong, or if she's injured or something.
Right.
Happens.
So it makes more sense that what you're saying.
Yeah, it was but that's an interesting take on it that I had not considered when I watched it. Now, the ending.
Yes. It's not perfect.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, it didn't really make any sense to me.
Yes, and the more I thought about it, I'm just like, wait a minute.
I am totally fine with her getting to the point where she's broken all connection.
Yeah,
That is fine. Jennifer Jason Leigh
being
going
in
into
the
the
kid.
child
Yeah.
did not make sense to me.
No, it comes out of nowhere. It's supposed to be like a twist, but
not necessary.
it's not necessary.
Did not need that. Let the husband die the way the husband died,
Yeah.
which was fine, and the kid dies in some other way. And so it's like that ultimate like, well, you killed your own son,
Yeah.
like she did,
Yeah.
because she got stabbed in the neck.
No, it would have worked better if it was
And
like
it goes against what happened earlier,
Right.
Where they said the one dude wouldn't kill her because she has to kill herself
right.
to get out, and then all of a sudden it was okay that she got stabbed in the throat by somebody else.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was studio interference or if it was really his original, because it feels like everything else is like this is his baby.
Sure.
Like he wouldn't let anybody touch this, but that does feel like very like out of character for the rest of the movie. It feels like it's just we got to have some twist at the end.
And I wasn't wowed by that at all. I was just more like, really?
That is the weakest part. But everything else is so strong.
Just didn't need it.
No, but everything else is so strong that it almost feels like I forgive it
It's
for
okay.
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the scene in general is fine.
Yeah.
Up until
Dude,
she's
that whole scene's amazing, especially when she kills the kid. 'Cause I'm like, they're not going to kill the kid. Oh fuck, they killed the kid.
They killed the
brutally.
kid. Yeah,
like
they
it's just
killed
like
the kid.
the rest of the movie's pretty brutal. That's pretty
I
fucked
remember
up.
when I first watched In Bruges, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, they shot a kid.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you do that in a movie? And you watch this, and you're like, I shot a kid.
They blow his brains out.
Yeah,
It's pretty
they shot a
fucking
kid.
crazy.
It's a back shot. It's a back shot. It's okay.
No, it's okay.
Could have been anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but fine.
Well, he wasn't really a kid anymore. He was like 12. He's okay.
Right. That's of age.
No, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised because it was one of these movies I saw the trailers for. I'm like, oh, Brandon Cronenberg. Okay, David Cronenberg's son. I haven't seen Antiviral, but this got some actors in it like that I really want to see. The girl from Birdman and
Was it the last
May.
one he did before this one? Was Antiviral?
Probably.
Because that's
It was a
been
while
like
ago. That was like
7 or 8 years.
2011, 2012 or
Yeah.
something. But Christopher Abbott, I really liked him, and They Come at Night, or It Comes at Night. So I'm like, okay, this seems like this could be a really good movie. There's not a lot of big names in this movie, so it's got to be interesting. And I just really enjoyed it.
No, the effects were amazing.
The effects are
They
amazing. I mean,
really
it's
are.
it really is. It shows that like
It's Cronenberg.
very basic idea, not supernatural, sci-fi, brutal body horror and shit, and then just
Even
really
Sean
Bean's great,
Yeah, but when he gets messed up
and the eye popping out.
with the fire poker in his teeth, yeah,
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, and that's good. That's good.
But I like it because it's fucked up and disgusting, but they only show enough of it, and they intersplice all of these different shots, like when she's having sex with her husband in the beginning, and then it shows the shot of the knife going into the victim's neck. I
Yeah.
really like it's like you're supposed to feel conflicted. You're supposed to feel like this is weird how the sex and the imagery is tied to the violence, almost like Hellraiser is, where it's like what does it mean between have these ideas of violence and sensuality kind of playing with each other, and it's almost not even it's not sexual. It's almost just kind of revealing and weird.
It didn't feel sexual.
It feels very
the majority
like
of it did not feel sexual.
no, but it's weird. It's like reducing things to their bare bones and almost just seeing things in their most primal state. It's very odd.
I kind of wanted to see what that guy was like, because you know how his girlfriend kept being like, "Why are you being
before.
so weird?"
Yeah.
Like it was like
I was convinced they were going to show him
what
like as
is
an
he-
asshole.
Yeah, like what is he like? Is he like not? But because it didn't make any sense, because like there's other parts where
yeah.
he was being sweet and she didn't seem bothered by it, like it was normal.
I feel like that's the other weaker point is they didn't show enough of him pre the
Just
takeover.
a little bit. Yeah, I didn't need a lot, just a little bit. Yeah. No, I definitely recommend it.
It's very
There's
good.
no doubt about that.
It's certainly it's better than a 6.5. And the fact that this movie is only 0.4 points above The Dark and the Wicked is I hate that.
I don't know if it's just because people have different expectations.
People are dumb. I literally read some of these reviews. They're like, Brandon Cronenberg, great visuals, but there's no story. Nothing happens. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? A shit ton happens in this movie compared to The Dark and the Wicked. There's nothing happening in The Dark and the Wicked.
There's a lot to talk about with Possessor. It's not a lot with The Dark and the Wicked, but yeah, I think people go into films expecting something. When they hear something's a horror film, when they hear that it's a Cronenberg son film,
most of Cronenberg's movies aren't really horror. They have horror
really,
elements.
Yeah, they don't really.
But Scanners is not a horror movie. Neither is Videodrome. Videodrome is a weird. You haven't seen that, but it's a weird movie. Like
I didn't even really feel like The Fly was a horror
no,
movie.
it's not.
It has moments that are very
weird.
good, but
it's its own thing.
Everything else that isn't like The Fly,
yeah,
coming out and attacking people, is not horror. Not a thing. It's more like a drama romance.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's you just like or Dead Ringers. Dead Ringers is not a horror movie. It has horror.
Is that
like
Cronenberg?
Yeah,
I like that.
Dead Ringers is really good.
That was a good.
I know, but it's people just need to like allow things to be what they are, and it's weird saying that from me when I just fucking ripped apart She Dies Tomorrow, but that's
hypocrite.
I know I'm a hypocrite, but that's the thing is like I don't know. I feel like. Yeah, you need to put things in genres because that's the only way you're going to be able to sort through things and watch them. But
thriller, oh my god, thriller could mean anything.
Right.
It means anything nowadays, which is fine. But I mean, like anytime you see horror, you see thriller.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah, I mean,
Did
Sleep
you get
Tight.
A thrill out of it?
Yeah, Sleep Tight and The Skin I Live In aren't horror movies, but they're listed like that.
Those are thrillers.
Yes.
Those are, suspense.
Sure.
I would say suspense and mystery almost in a way.
Yeah, I feel like that probably was like what happened post Hitchcock was that how do we separate between horror and suspense? Well, we don't. We just put it all together. Like there's a difference between Psycho.
Psycho's a horror movie.
Psycho's a horror movie, and Vertigo's a suspense movie.
Right.
It's not really horror.
No, there's a big difference.
And Rope's not a horror movie.
Not at all.
So
somebody dies, okay?
Yeah, but
that's not a horror movie.
No.
You wouldn't call that a horror play if they're putting it on the theater.
No, it's a straight play. Or like when you look at things like I would consider Bug a horror movie,
but it's also psychological.
Yeah, and it has suspense elements.
Psychological. Yeah, I mean, like you could throw suspense and thriller into something like that if you want to.
Yeah.
The Witch, not a thriller.
It's a horror movie.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
And I would say disturbing.
Yes.
There are certain movies that I find disturbing. I would argue that Possessor is disturbing.
And it does ride that line between horror and weird drama, sci-fi drama, but
yeah, like psychological sci-fi.
Like comparing, like if you compare like Gattaca to Possessor, like Gattaca or Possessor is a horror movie, but they're kind of in the same vein where they're taking this sci-fi idea and kind of, like I mean that's the problem with like mixing
I watched
genres.
That for the first time like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, you told me about that. Not as good as people say it is. I need to watch it, but. That's the problem is like we've gotten to this point just like with music where there's so many different elements playing in these movies and there's not like a cemented like this is what this movie
is. Which is fine. I mean
it
should be
preferable
able
to the alternative.
Thing. I mean Parasite like people say like it doesn't follow any formula that like you see other films follow, which I'm completely on board with because I loved that movie, but like how do you categorize it? If you're a streaming service like Netflix, you have to categorize it.
Right.
Well, they got things like, they had some of the weirdest fucking genres. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like drinking buddy genre. Whatever it is. I don't know.
Sideways?
Yeah, exactly. Other movies with bald men in them.
Hey. Why'd you think of that? Why was the second pick?
I was gonna be like, when I watch See No Evil, and I'm like, is Kane's character named Harry?
Because he's bald?
Yeah. I was gonna do that, but I decided not to.
It's okay.
It's Vin Diesel. It's just an uglier Vin Diesel. He's one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. Oh man, God, I mean,
Oh, Legan had such a better thing, by the way.
What?
You know, I talked about like how I was like, I need a hand.
Oh
When
yeah.
he goes, no, you should have said, I've been disarmed.
Ah!
And I was like, God damn it, that's so much better.
Or a farewell to arms.
Yeah,
or, you know,
well, because his gun,
Right,
he's disarmed.
right.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Fuck. I need to be my script writer for those videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else?
I don't know.
Go
man.
watch The Possessor.
Yeah, please do. That's available on Hulu now.
Oh, I watch Midnighters.
What's that?
It's 2017. It's got
Sounds familiar.
Alex Esso in it.
Who's that?
She's in Doctor Sleep. She's Windy, and she's in Starry Eyes,
Oh, no, yeah, she.
which we didn't like.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. She plays Danny's mom in
Yeah.
the flashbacks. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a. It's bad, man. It's bad. They just kind of are drunk at New Year's. Not drunk. They've been drinking, and they're driving down the road, and they try to like the husband's driving. He tries to get a little sexual with his wife, and then they run into somebody that's been walking down the road, like just run him over.
Oh.
And then they try to hide it, and you think, okay, so it's about like how their marriage is already on the rocks, and this is just kind of pushing them further away and causes problems. No, it turns out that dude was like an assassin
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
coming
about.
to kill the sister of the woman who's been staying with them.
I've seen. I saw previews for this.
Oh
yeah.
my god! And the sister, the actress that plays the sister, is awful. Is awful, and the whole premise is dumb. And
Okay.
and she like, and her husband's like a big dick. He's like a jockey. Used to be like a baseball player, and he's like been an asshole pretty much the whole movie. And then he dies towards the end, and she like crawls towards him and is like holding his hand, even though he tried to choke her like 5 minutes before that.
Nice.
And then her sister dies too. Everybody dies but her. And then she finds like this money that they were all trying to go for, and she's like smiling. It's like the next day. I don't understand. Then there's I'm so fucking mad. Okay. There's a part.
Yes. Let the hate flow.
There's a part where the money's being held at like a hotel. Okay, they got concierge ticket, whatever, to get it. Okay,
Yeah, tight.
Whatever. So she goes to and it's the movie starts on New Year's
Eve or New
Yeah,
Year's.
they're counting down. It's 10
okay.
seconds,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And then they go home. And then it takes at least a day for all this other stuff to happen.
Uh-huh.
And then she goes, has all this shit happens, goes to the hospital. She still has the Band-Aid on her fucking forehead from when she got injured. And she goes to the hotel, and the guy goes, Happy New Year. And she goes, it's not midnight anymore. And I go, no, it's been at least a few days. What the fuck is this?
I just watched a Curb episode where he says it's too late to say Happy New Year like
Yes.
a week later.
What? I didn't understand that at all. And then she goes upstairs and she opens the bag, and of course it's full of money. And she's like lays down on the bed, and she's just like and like smiling and happy. I'm like, your sister is dead. Your husband is
no,
dead.
she was in on it the whole time.
No,
right?
no, that's not the point.
Oh,
The
no.
point is that money made her happy.
Oh.
Even though nothing about... Yeah, no. She was like the only one making money in the family anyway. And it was like... You still have the Band-Aid. You just came from the fucking... The cops dropped you off here. You showed the cops dropping you off here. And you just all about money?
Hey, man.
Is that what it's about?
Sometimes.
Is
You know?
that what it's about? Why is it called Midnighters? Oh, because New Year's Eve takes
Yeah,
place
yeah.
midnight.
God damn.
All right, I got nothing else.
I can't think of anything else I really watched that was like horror.
Well, I've watched a lot of horrors, but I'm going too far back. I'm approaching 700 now, so
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. That is amazing. I mean, I thought I had a problem with watching movies, but
I've slowed down. I was at like 660.
I did watch
like a month ago.
The other day I did watch The Dark and the
Sometimes I
Wicked,
watch
Possessor,
3 in one night.
and I watched Death to Smoochie all in the same day.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
I'm Rainbow fucking
Oh
Randolph.
my god, that doesn't get enough love.
No, it doesn't. It's amazing.
I still quote that movie to this day. I do. Oh my god.
Where do you go when Scott turns blue?
Job's a job. Excuse me. There is no excuse for you. Robin Williams is fantastic.
Amazing. And Edward Norton's really good. Everyone's really good in that. Danny DeVito. Harvey Firestein. Oh my god.
Is that his name?
What? Who?
In the movie?
No, it's the actor Harvey Firestein.
Oh, I thought it was just a play on Harvey Weinstein.
No.
Like
Harvey Firestein's
who the fuck is that?
he's a famous actor. He's in
Famous.
Mrs. Doubtfire. He's the brother that does the whole makeup.
Oh yeah, he's dead, isn't he?
No, I don't think he is.
I think he's dead.
Is he dead? Oh, well, anyway. But no,
With that voice? He dead.
Firestein. Check it out. Check if he's dead. But no, what's the other quote when Robin Williams saves the day? He's like,
"It's a rocket ship. It's a dick.
It's a cock and ball. How are you? I don't know. I'm generally fucked up. So today, I don't really know."
No, he's fantastic in that.
No, they're all really great. And
6.4. What a joke.
I know.
What's the Metascore on this? 38.
Death to Smoochie?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that movie's way too
There's Jon Stewart in it. I
Yeah, that's
forgot.
right, yeah.
Oh, Miss Jon
There's
Stewart.
a bunch of people in that, and it's great. It's very funny and dark.
He's
and
still alive. He's still
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Ha!
Well, have you seen him in anything
No.
since Death to Smoochie?
Independence Day? That was before.
I said since Death to Smoochie?
No.
Yeah, those are the only two movies I've ever seen him in.
Harvey Firestein.
I like him.
No, he's great. No, that movie. No, it's one of those movies where I think it kind of got, unfortunately, like it was too dark at the time to get like a
It was
mainstream,
ahead of its time.
and now it's just like
It's like Mystery Men.
yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not only is it funny and dark, but it's also like it has some interesting commentary on like the fucking like child esque or the industry of making child entertainment and how
Just
fucked
the
up it would be
industry in general. Yeah.
God damn it.
Dr. Death is dead. He's dead.
Oh no, Deathman.
Deathman is dead. That guy's dead.
Yes. What's his name? He was a magician, famous magician. Rick. He was in Deadwood.
Yeah.
God damn it, I can't think of his name. Ricky J. Ricky J.
Congratulations.
You're welcome.
You win the prize.
My autism works today.
I'm on the spectrum.
I'm on the spectrum. It's okay. I can say that. Oh man.
Well, that
Dude,
was good.
It's fucking hot in here. God damn it. We need to stop.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, please. Thank you for watching. If you are watching, please comment and tell us what movies you've been watching recently, what we should
God's sake,
talk about,
comment.
what we should watch, because we're getting tired of constantly looking through Amazon and looking at shitty things. And Andrew, like, hey, you need to check this out, and then I'm disappointed.
I literally just click.
You shouldn't do that.
I look at plots, and then I look at
That ruins my day
reviews.
when I watch a terrible movie, and I'm just like, I've wasted so much time.
I think I started one the other day, and I literally go, nope,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
No, I
can't remember what it was, though.
movie I was doing. Oh, one last movie I did see, and I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's called Cold Skin. You watched that on Amazon with Ray
sounds really familiar.
Winstone, not Ray Winstone, the guy that plays one of the Punishers and one of the directed video. I mean, he was in the other guys. You don't really Ray Stevenson or something. So the idea
I know you're
he's
talking
in
about.
he's in a lighthouse, and a new guy comes to the island, and it turns out there's these like frog people that have been living on this island.
Definitely not watch
Okay,
this.
so really interesting idea and really good practical effects and good makeup work. But the movie itself, it's too long, and I don't know what they're trying to do with the characters and the I don't know, whatever, the idea. It's an interesting watch.
PG-14?
Yeah.
Was this made for TV?
No,
Or is
it was made in like Spain or something.
Or maybe that's what they say for like
Streaming
like
or-
Netflix now.
Yeah.
If it's made on Netflix, it's a TV.
But it's a really cool, different take on like basically it's a commentary on like colonialism and like people coming over and taking over like a native society. Obviously, like they're talking about like British colonialism and taking over like tribes of native people. But it turns out these native people are like amphibious creatures. So literally like they're not human. So like he's trying to conquer them.
Intrigued.
it's an interesting premise, and I really like what they do with it, but it falls incredibly short on what it's trying to do, and I don't think it pushes nearly as many boundaries as it was trying to go for. I don't know. I watched it very closely to, like, in the same amount of time, like maybe even in the same day I watched Last of the Mohicans, and I'm just like, this is interesting what they're kind of going for with, like, commentating on colonialism.
Sounds like completely different movies.
I know they're completely different movies, but it seems like, I don't know, whatever the commentary that Last of the Mohicans was talking about in the French and Indian War.
I still haven't seen it.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's
I've
great.
heard.
It's very basic, and the problem with that's a whole different conversation. Is like different edits of movies kind of ruin that movie.
Okay.
But I don't know. Cold Skin, I think it's worth a watch. I just don't know
I'll check it out.
what
on Prime.
to get out of it. Yeah, it's on Prime.
Yeah. I'll check it out.
So, anyway, again, sorry.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Please comment and tell us what we should watch or what you've been thinking about, and what else we should talk about. If you don't want us to talk about horror movies or something else,
We
let
watch
us
plenty
know.
of movies.
We do.
Horror is just the easiest to do.
It is. Yeah.
And we do enjoy it. I just like finding a diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
Possessor.
and we did that with Possessor. Go watch Possessor.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.